Hi, I'm Dr. George Yancey. Let's share some paradigms. Paradigm share today is Bothsidism. Now, when you're a person that's not completely on the left or the right, a person who critiques the left and the right, often for the very same thing, you sometimes get accused of Bothsidism. And basically what people are arguing is that, you are saying both sides are wrong, whereas their side is much worse. Or our side's not wrong at all. You're blaming us for what they're doing. You're saying it's both sides, when in fact, it's just them. That's what I've heard from Bothsidism. Now I want to make an interesting observation. I've been on social media, and I've critiqued both sides a lot. And really, until the past, couple of years, when I got critiqued for Bothsidism, it usually came from people on the left. When I would critique a speech that Biden gave, that I said, this is a very depersonalizing, very polarizing speech. Some of my leftist friends came and said, that's Bothsidism. Look how bad Trump is doing. Look what is Trump, speeches Trump gives. To which I said, I've critiqued those speeches too. I'm saying on this speech, Biden is very, very bad, very, very wrong. You're a Bothsidism. It was my friends on the left who tended to say Bothsidism. Over the past year or two, I've noticed more and more people on the right have critiqued me for Bothsidism. How dare I critique, political violence? Doesn't it all come from the left? No, there's Pelosi's husband got hit by a hammer, and, there's Hartman, the congresswoman who's killed up in Minnesota. No, Bothsidism. So, of late, I've seen Bothsidism accusations come from the left and the right. So let's tackle this. Let's tackle what it means to critique both sides and what it doesn't mean both sides. Personally, I think that we're seeing more on the right because people on the right have gained more cultural power. So they believe that they can control the culture more, and thus they can dampen the foibles of their own side. So I want to take a look at Bothsidism. I want to say what it is and what it is not. Because I think people interpret Bothsidism in ways that are not very useful. Okay, before we go on, if you like this sort of conversation, please like this video, like this channel, leave a comment. If you disagree, if you think I'm guilty of Bothsidism, leave a comment as well. Help this channel to grow. All right, so I think both people on the left and the right, partisans if you will, mistake the nature of what Bothsidism is. And that's what I want to clarify today. There's this notion out there that those of us who critique both of them, that we fall right in the middle of each single issue. That we can't make up our mind. We can't have any passion. We have to be totally nuanced. Now, I'm a big believer in nuance. Don't get me wrong. I think nuance is very important. I decry the lack of nuance we have in our society. Having said that, this is not true. That we're always in the middle of all these issues. In fact, there are issues where I'm very much a conservative. I would say on abortion, I'm very much a conservative on that. I believe that the right is more right on this issue than the left. On immigration, I'm more on the left on that. I would say the left is closer to the truth than the right, in my opinion, on immigration. On racial issues, I probably am more on the left on that as well, although I do decry some of the excesses of the left. So it's not that I can't be passionate about certain issues. I will say that on issues I've not thought much about, I do tend to be more in the middle and not really taking a strong stance. I'll be honest, I've not looked deeply into the issues with climate change. I know it's an important issue and some people are very passionate about it, and that's fine. I'm just not one of those folks. And maybe I should be, but I'm not. So this notion that we have to always be in the middle, that we can't take a stand on issues, a strong stand on issues, a stand on one side or the other. That's just simply not true. Not in my case, and not in the case of most of the people I know who don't go to the left or the right, aren't partisan, are more likely to critique both groups. So I think that is just one clarification that needs to be done. Also, some people say, you take Bothsidism because you want yourself to seem like you're objective so that you can get a lot of support, so you can get a lot of attaboys, that sort of thing. I find this very laughable. I've done a video talking about, I wish I could be partisan. Because when you're a partisan, you get support from your partisan allies, and you know how you can think about things. And to me, intellectually, partisanship is easier. You don't have to think about how to come down on different issues. When a new issue comes up, I can automatically take the right or the left side of things, the Democrat or the Republican side of things. I can't. I have to think about, how do I feel about this issue in light of all these different circumstances, and come to my own conclusion. So I find it laughable that people think that I critique both sides because it's the easy route. To me, in my opinion, and maybe I'm subjective on this because this is where I'm at, it's harder. It's harder to be where I'm at than to be a partisan one way or the other. I also want to say that this Bothsidism status, is not something that I take lightly, and it's not something that I just reflectively go. There's a philosophical grounding to the fact that I'm not partisan. You see, while I may agree or disagree with certain issues one way or the other, I believe that the essence of both political parties are similar in that they are filled with humans who are flawed, who are greedy, who are corrupt, who are immoral. And just like people that I agree with are those ways. And so when I see corruption, regardless of whether side it is, I want to call it out. And I don't want to be hampered by the fact that they're on my team. You see, I believe that the left is just as immoral as the right is. We think of people on the right as being more moral, more faithful to their wives and things of this nature. I think the left and right are equally in immorality. I don't think the left is any more immoral or any less immoral than the right is. Now, issues you can argue, but as individuals, I just don't believe that. Likewise, I believe that the right is just as tolerant as the left is, just towards different people. I even have research backing this up. I have data to back this up. When it comes to tolerance, I don't think there's much difference between the left and the right. Because as individuals, we tend to be intolerant of people we don't like. I don't think that goes away because you speak out against racism or homophobia or anything like that. You're just intolerant towards a different set of people. And you justify it. And so the hypocrisy that I often see from my partisan friends, I have a hard time stomaching. I'll just be honest with that. I have a hard time stomaching that hypocrisy. And I want the freedom to call out evil wherever I find it. I want the freedom to assert this is good wherever I find it. I don't want my stance to be determined by whether or not Trump likes it or not, or whether or not Nancy Pelosi likes it or not. Whether something is good or not is whether it's good or not. And if this means I have to call out things on both sides, I will call out things on both sides. I think doing so helps me avoid the partisan traps of getting caught up into having to defend my side no matter what, or attack their side no matter what. And frees me, I believe, to be more objective, to be more honest, and to be more fair. Well, I hope this resonates with you, and I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you do, please come back. We can shatter some more paradigms.